Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy 3-hour program lined up today. Jeff Sherman from the Westgate Superbook. Longtime NBA guy, longtime Lakers fan on the show in 30 minutes. Can't wait to get his reaction to the huge trade. Brian Mahoney, who's covered the NBA for a long time, Associated Press. His reaction to the deal. Jonathan Von Tobel, live in New Orleans for Super Bowl week. He's coming up a little bit later on in the program as well. There was a very good chance, I'm going to say like 98% chance, that if you go back to 4 p.m. Pacific Friday and then even into like Saturday morning and afternoon, we were never even going to say the name Luka Doncic today on the show. There was no reason. He's missed like 19 games already this year, right? And I'm sure that typically this would have been a Monday filled with a lot of Super Bowl talk. I am still in disbelief, as is the rest of the country, over the most insane trade, I think, in any sport ever.
Ever?
NBA,
I agree.
NBA, 100%. Yep. Nothing's close.
Yep.
Adam Schefter today was asked on a Denver radio station if he can compare it to any piece of breaking news he's ever had in his life. No hesitation. He goes, Andrew Luck retiring. That might be the good comp because everybody was floored. Nobody saw it coming. And the rest is history. And the same can be said about what just took place Saturday night with that trade. Nobody saw this coming.
You have to give it to this league. What they do the entire year is people talk about the NBA and how powerful the league is off the court and the drama and this time of year with the trades. We almost had this go down, then Fox was dealt, and Butler would have been traded yesterday if Golden State was going to give him an extension. The NBA insider, Shams, has to put above the original tweet, "No, I have not been hacked." It's incredible.
I think I read his original tweet Saturday night 8-10 times.
Right. You say, wait a second.
There's no way it's happening.
Yeah, this got to be phony. This has got to be an imposter.
You're right, exactly.
This just can't be. There's just no way in hell an organization would be this dumb. Right?
That's exactly what I thought.
God. And then I just couldn't wait and that's one of the glorious times, fun times with social media that I can't wait to get on X and see what everyone's saying and then listen and all the different, because they're going to take shots at them too, because there's going to be the horror stories about why they decided to do this and can't get enough of it.
So there isn't a single Dallas Maverick fan alive that I have seen say I like what they did. They are so pissed off within hours. Now take this for what it's worth. Within hours, the Mavericks lost 700,000+ followers on Instagram. They just went to the finals. He's 25 years old. He's on pace to be one of the best players in the history of the league. And you traded him for, look, we'll get into what it means for both teams to be this year and obviously down the road. Anthony Davis, when healthy, is obviously not chopped liver. The guy's awesome, right? But what could have been here and how it all unfolded, Paulie, this is how big it is. I went to bed probably 11:30 on Saturday night. I woke up. I was, checked my phone about 5:30, 6 o'clock on Sunday morning. I had 23 different messages all about the trade. Some people, as I tweeted out before the show, I believe I've never talked NBA with in my entire life.
Oh, very good.
That's how big it is.
Yeah, well said.
I was just like, I couldn't keep up. And then that was to begin the day, and they kept coming in fast and furious all day yesterday.
It's one of the worst trades I can ever remember in any sport. Having said that, the Mavs can't be 40-1 to win the title.
Or 20-1 to win the West.
And the Lakers can't be 10-1. As Brian Windhorst had a great rant today, you're taking advantage of people. That's outrageous. They don't even have a full team yet.
Yeah.
But to think, top 3 player in the league, 25 years old, the favorite entering the season to win the MVP, you went to the finals last year. We're sick of them. And you didn't get the haul.
No.
There's so much going on here. I could do 7 hours. You didn't even get a haul. You talked to one team. You'll get to that coming up. But then you look and like, wait a second. There's got to be more here with the pieces. And you give up a top 3 player in the league, 25 years old, and you get 32-year-old Anthony Davis and Christie, and only one of their first-round picks.
That's it.
And no Reeves.
No Reeves, no Connect, not the other first-round pick.
Yes.
They never opened it up to the entire league. Look at what some players have gotten or teams have gotten in exchange for players in the past. The Kevin Durant deal. is astonishing when you compare it to this. The Paul George deal when he was traded. This is from Eric Slater, who puts it into perspective. The Nets turned 34-year-old Kevin Durant. This would take me 10 minutes to read the entire tweet. Cam Johnson, Zaire Williams, a 2023 Phoenix first, a 2025 Phoenix first, a Knicks first pick this year, Milwaukee first-round pick. There's like 15 picks involved. The Mavericks turned 25-year-old Luka into Davis Christie in a 2029 LA first. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Luke, put the better tweet up. They actually had Luka, Brunson, and Porzingis on the same team. They turned Luka, because Brunson left for nothing. They turned Luka, Brunson, and Porzingis into AD, Christie, and Dinwiddie. It gets worse. Of all people, I think Bill Barnwell had the NFL guy of ESPN.com, that people can't wait to be in this situation and have this type of asset, and you didn't bother calling anyone else in the league. You just called the Lakers and said, "Hey, let's quiet. You didn't even shop them. You didn't even say, okay, we're open for business. Let the insanity begin."
And they knew about it for a month.
Right. What do you want for this guy? Like, everyone knows San Antonio can just give you whatever you want. And people around the league were saying, oh, my God, thank God it's not Luka and Wemby for the next 15 years. But to not even pick up the phone and let people know, I also think it was 17 years to the day that the Lakers got Gasol. That was the same type of deal. Like, what? Everyone around the league's like, I didn't even know he was available. No one called. Memphis never called. Same type of thing here.
How do you not open? I refuse to believe that they think that Anthony Davis is going to be and again, Davis very good, but they had to have Anthony Davis?
Come on.
They had to have him.
Okay, are you sitting down? Good. How about this angle? Because you're going to lose your mind. Kirk Goldsberry has a source inside the Lakers organization. The source said that's the other thing. How do you not get the 2031 pick? That's laughable. They got the 2029. The other first-round pick was on the table, and Dalton Connect. But then Pelinka comes in and talks Harrison out of it. Like, I'm a little concerned about Luka, and his negotiating actually worked, and then Connect and the other pick were then removed from the trade. So the guy needs to win some awards.
So Pelinka played hardball with Harrison, not the other way around.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Can you believe it? Can you believe the onions? This guy needs to walk around with a wheelbarrow because one sudden move and it blows it up, right? Oh, congratulations, he kept a secret. Of course he's going to keep a secret. Because if you let it go and word gets around the league, everyone's going to be like, wait, he's available? What do you want? I'll give you whatever you want. But for Pelinka to come back and play hardball and say, no, I'm not comfortable with that, I'm giving up too much, and it works, I'm stunned.
Well, the whole thing. This is, again, and the video part of this is astonishing. For those of you in the radio audience, I hope you've seen it on social media. Jason Kidd's face when Nico Harrison was talking about the deal, it looked like he just was gutted and he lost a family member. So this is Harrison telling the media that Jason Kidd was unaware of the deal.
Well, I think the long term is the time frame. I think he fits our time frame. If you pair him with Kyrie and the rest of the guys, he fits right along with our time frame to win now and win in the future. And the future to me is 3-4 years from now. The future 10 years from now, I don't know. I don't think they probably bury me and Jay by then, or we bury ourselves.
Yes.
And Kidd didn't know.
Oh my God!
They kept it a secret from everybody.
You better win a championship soon. That's the other thing. AD's 32. Kyrie's going to be 33. This guy's 25 years old. You just went to the finals. A couple years ago, he carried you to the Western Conference Finals. What are you doing?
It felt like collusion to me at first. After I wrapped my head around it. Again, hearing that guy talk, the fact that he never even picked up the phone and messaged another team in the entire NBA. And again, I refuse to believe that the deal was, Luka's conditioning is not good enough. We don't want to give him the supermax, so we have to have Anthony Davis. He's the guy. He's the key to us winning a title down the road. This is from a story in The Athletic. A person familiar with the Mavericks-Lakers organization, actually the Dallas Morning News, my apologies, told them that Harrison got full support from team governor Patrick Dumont in the weeks leading to the trade. And when it was time to pull the trigger late Saturday night, Harrison said Dumont laughed, apparently thinking the GM was joking when he broached the possibility of trading Luka, but has continued his unwavering trust in the culture Harrison and Kidd said that they are building in Dallas. He thought it was a joke. Everybody thought it was a joke. That people thought GMs got hacked.
Yep. There's some good conspiracy stuff, too, we'll get into that's out there that's interesting. But it's, the report from Tim McMahon, who covers the team, that they felt they were being held hostage by him. And it could be Embiid part 2. Always hurt, calf injury, conditioning, likes to drink, won't get in shape, yada, yada.
He could do
But it's like, it doesn't, this reminds me of the Randy Moss thing when he played. Yeah, but he takes plays off. Yeah, but he's the second best wide receiver of all time. There is no but. Mm-hmm. You just went to the finals. He's top 2 player in the league. What are you talking about?
He could honestly, he could pop beer bongs after every made basket.
Yes.
And I would never hesitate giving him the Supermax. Like, there you go. That's Luka being Luka.
Right. So they didn't want to give him $350 million. I can't believe it.
In a league that is filled with ridiculous contracts.
Yeah.
You don't want to give this guy the Supermax.
Ryan Russillo said he could dribble the ball up the floor smoking cigarettes. I don't care.
He's right.
I know. That's not crazy. He's that good. Who cares if he's chubby?
I don't care.
Right. Big game almost here. We have you covered. Kickoff to cash out. We're live Sunday while the game starts. We're on till 4 Pacific. All your favorite hosts will be breaking down the action, early morning breakdowns, in-game betting strategies, post-game recap. Stick with us. Follow the money 1 to 4 on Sunday. VSiN.com, VSiN Watch app, YouTube TV, Sirius XM 158, iHeartRadio, baby.
Up next, another superstar has requested a trade, and we'll go down that path of some, you call it what you want, maybe some conspiracy theories that I'm actually buying here on the Mavericks end of this deal. That's coming up here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live, as always, Circa Resort Casino in downtown Las Vegas. We'll head across town here as Jeff Sherman joins the program. He is VP of Risk over at the Westgate Superbook, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Jeff, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Oh, great. How's it going, guys?
Really well.
Hey, Jeff.
Still shocked. You've been setting NBA numbers. You're great at this. You've been doing it for a long, long time. You're also a lifelong Lakers fan. I mean, how do you even put into words what happened on Saturday night with that deal?
I don't think there are words. Every time you try to come up with some, like you come up with other ones. And it's, I had to save Sham's tweet because it's something you'll look back on. And it's just mind boggling. I mean, from a Laker fan perspective, LeBron's got a year or two left or whatnot. You think of the team going forward, what it's going to be Anthony Davis's team with Austin Reeves and then who knows what. Now you've totally reset that where you have the guy, LeBron coming off the books, cap space, who wants to come play with Luka in LA. Like the next 10 years, the Lakers are set.
For sure. Okay, let me ask it this way. Let's say I had inside information before the trade was announced on Saturday, and I got a hold of you and I said, Jeff, I'll give you 100-1 odds that this deal is going to happen. Would you have even considered taking 100-1 odds on that?
No, it's beyond the wildest dreams of, the whole situation that, first of all, obviously there was no leak to it. There's no idea about it, but you don't figure somebody like that, that's like saying Wemby getting moved. Someone that has so many years ahead of them that's looking at a top 5 player in the league. And it's so hard to get that you have to hold on to that as a team. And you don't look to move on from that. You work with whatever issues there are. And it's mind boggling. And to some degree, I still don't believe that it happened.
How did you then adjust the numbers overall? And was there anything out there? Were you guys taking bets at all on the Lakers right away? Are you seeing any action on the Mavericks?
Well, I was pretty quick to adjust on it. And, first of all, I looked at it and didn't believe it. And I wanted another source. And so I saw Dan Wilkie, who I know Lakers beat writer, and he tweeted and confirmed it. And so I immediately just closed the odds. And that was before anybody was able to play anything. And then I went through and absorbed some of it and adjusted it. And I had the Lakers at 50-1. I went down to 20-1. And unless they make some more moves before a Thursday, I don't think this season is it. They are now lacking on defense. They don't have interior help, and they need to address that to say that they can do something this year. So I'm fine at 20-1, but once I went 20-1 and opened it up that night, all day yesterday, today, nothing but Lakers at 20-1. That's all I'm seeing. So I'll go lower if they make another move, but right now, that's what we're offering. And I bumped Dallas up from 20-30. And I mean, I think that they are going to have a decent team when they're healthy. I don't know. They're still ways behind Oklahoma City, as everybody in the West is, but Dallas needs to do something this year or next year, or it's going to be a complete failure for that team.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. Why don't you want a piece of 40-1? Can I argue they're the third best team in the West?
The Lakers at 40?
No, Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah.
First of all, it's the position that they're in. I mean, they're in the standings. They got a lot of making up to do.
Right.
So there's a likelihood of them being in the play-in round, which you're a game or two away from being eliminated at that point. So you look at the path that's ahead of them right now, and they still have a lot of work to do to put themselves in better position. So this time I wouldn't be involved with it.
So good job by you that you knew this. They're going to attract money. It's LeBron and Luka. There are several books that have them 10-1, which, okay, they have to make another trade. You need rim protection. But right now, this team is just a joke defensively. You got a good laugh out of that, right? How can they be 10-1 to win the title?
Well, that's places being overreactive to the type of action that they see on this team. And for years, we've always seen Laker money. I mean, we have liability this year. It's nothing like we've had in previous years. But you know it's going to come. And now after the trade, it's going to come some more. So it's some other places that are mitigating maybe their prior position or where they're at. But, based on what our liability is and what our expectations are, and if they don't make any more moves, I was fine with 20. I didn't think I needed to go lower than that. And if they don't make any more moves between now and Thursday, I don't have a problem raising them up even.
Well said. And I would agree with that.
How does Harrison not call other teams, Jeff?
Well, from reading everything about it, he said that there would have been a lot of issues with it, but I have to forego those because the return they got would have been on another degree from what they got from the Lakers. I mean, you're talking these other teams for Michael Bridges getting 5 first-round picks and Rudy Gobert getting 4 first-round picks.
There you go.
So for them to just walk away with, I love AD and I loved him as a Laker, but he's going to be 33 soon.
Yep.
And they only got 1 first-round pick out of this, too. So they walked away with almost nothing in relation to what they could have got.
Well said. What do you think of the Spurs getting Fox and what that changed their number?
Well, I love it. And, I think they're a little premature for this season, especially sitting where they're at. But, you look at the effect now of players wanting to go play with Wemby, and Fox said he had one place he wanted to get traded to, and it's San Antonio. And I think he wanted to do it before everyone else in the league said, I want to go there. So now he's on the roster under contract before other people could beat him to the punch. So, he's going to be a great piece to that team, and they didn't have to give up anything. They still have, Vassell, Sohan. They didn't have to give up any pieces other than draft picks.
Right.
So they're in a good position and going to be attractive in the years coming for free agents, or even they have young pieces to trade still.
Okay. So in the Western Conference, and Jeff Sherman's our guest here, VP of Risk over at the Westgate Superbook. He's on the Progressive Guest line. Speaking specifically of that conference, is there a number on the board right now on any of these teams that you think would be worth playing?
The one thing I would say is maybe Memphis in double digits. They're so well coached. They're even getting contributions from their young rookies that they've got this year between Wells and Edey. The health is in and out of the lineup. We see that on a daily basis. But come playoff time, if this team can be healthy, I think they can really make some noise in the West, and you can find them 10-12-1 right now, and that's probably the one direction that I would lean at this point.
You like them more than the Rockets?
Well, the Rockets, I think, are collectively too young, and at least the Grizzlies have had some playoff experience, and almost like the Spurs, I think, the next couple of years, you're going to see the Rockets, the Spurs, right, going with Oak City, and those are going to be three stalwarts, but I think, two of them are too young this year.
Yeah. So you're on social media at Golf Odds, along with the NBA. You also set golf odds over at the Westgate. Is there anybody that you like early on here looking at the Waste Management?
Yeah, it's tough to fade Scheffler. He's going to be the 3-1 favorite this week, but now he got a practice tournament under his belt. So, you understand the low odds, but I do like Tom Kim. I mean, you saw, I don't know if you watched TGL and how much he got up for that and plays to the crowd. This is the one tournament of the year on the calendar at Phoenix that the crowd really gets into it. We know the par 3 hole everyone gets into. So he's going to feed off that emotion. He's playing really well right now, and I think it just suits his game for this week, and you can find him 30-1 or higher. That's the one leaning point that I have right now.
All right, Tom Kim, I'll shop around during the break for sure. 2 minutes left here. How is the handle looking on the Super Bowl? Are you guys in pretty good shape overall, both sides here, or are you seeing more money on one team compared to the other?
We're seeing more money on the Chiefs. I mean, you could see that we're the low end of the market. We're -1 on Kansas City when it was predominantly 1.5s out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we've attracted right now 68% of the tickets on the Chiefs, 86% of the money on the Chiefs. Now today, you saw a couple places start to go down to 1 and come to where we're at. I saw Chris go there. I saw Circa go there. So some of the sharper books starting to head to 1. And I know on Friday I talked about it with you guys about our position being at -1 and how when we did the props, it kind of led us to leaning towards the Philly side and expecting sharp money to come in on that side at some point. And it looks like it's starting to go that way right now.
Okay, interesting. And you guys are at $1.08 right now with the juice on both sides. Is it going to hang there until Super Bowl Sunday? Are you guys going to bump it down a little bit even more than where it's at right now?
Yeah, it's -108 on the spread on each side. And on Friday, we're going to go to -105 on each side. We'll have a 10-cent spread line.
Very good. Follow Jeff on X. He's at Golf Odds. Thanks for the time today.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
There you go. He was on the Progressive guest line.
Why other people are also pissed off because it's like, how does this keep happening to the Lakers?
I trust me. It's one of my first thoughts that I had.
Gasol, Kobe, Wilt, Kareem, Worthy, Magic, Shaq, LeBron, Luka. I'm probably missing people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay, I want to go here. Oh, I'll wind up here. Oh, they have this draft pick. It turns into this guy.
Funny how it keeps working out that way.
Yes, I know.
Right? Paul's going to recap the weekend's betting action and win some, lose some next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
The most shocking trade in the history of the NBA took place Saturday night. And one of the most shocking trades, if not the most shocking trade in the history of sports, I think. I mean, it's right up there. Nobody saw it coming. I still can't believe it, and it's been coming up on 48 hours here. And kicking around now is Brian Mahoney, who has covered the NBA for a long time for the Associated Press, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Brian, thanks for the time today. What was your reaction like when you saw the news? And what has it been like as you're talking to other media members who've covered the league for a long time? Can anybody believe this?
No one can believe it. Everyone is surprised. It's just not a guy. You don't see a guy like Luka Doncic get traded unless he said, "I'm absolutely leaving. Trade me." And I was here Saturday night in Madison Square Garden with the Lakers writers when this trade broke. They were all surprised. I've had people text me, people in the NBA and just casual sports fans explain this to me, and I really can't. I never would have predicted something like this coming, and I still can't believe it did.
Did you think Shams was either hacked or it was an imposter and a fake account?
I thought it was fake. I had just finished writing. I put my glasses back on to read the tweet a second time because sometimes you can see, like I said, they'll misspell Luka, or you can tell right away it's fake once you really read it closely. And I'm looking at it with my glasses on saying, no, this is all legit. But I just think it's true. And Shams had to send a second tweet saying this is actual real because no one believed it was.
I'm with you. Saturday, I think I read the tweet like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, what? How is this? How did this ever come to fruition? I mean, it took me like 2 hours to actually wrap my head around it, Brian.
the same. You kept trying to think, okay, wait a minute. And, people are speculating like crazy what could have really happened here. It's because obviously we're reading all the reports and you're talking about his weight and things about that. And you can say, okay, yes, I understand that, but it's got to be something more that people just can't believe, no matter what they're saying publicly, that you have a guy who gives you, 30, 10, and 10 a lot of nights, and you're saying, nope, we don't want him anymore. We're going to take the first deal we get for him. And it just is hard to imagine this could ever happen. Again, you see superstar players get traded, but you can always say, okay, they were going to leave anyway or something like that. We just don't see that with this trade.
Yeah, and I'm glad you went in that direction, too, because I have to call BS on we don't know if he was going to sign here. He was signing for $350 million and the Supermax. That's number one. How many people, and maybe you think this too, how many people have reached out to you saying, can you believe this? How does this keep happening to the Lakers? Gasol, Kobe, Wilt, Kareem, Worthy, Magic, Shaq, LeBron, Luka. What's going on?
It's funny. No one's mentioned that in the last couple of days, Paul, but it's a great point. I remember asking Kobe years ago for a story. There was a chance he was going to leave in, I think, 2004.
Right.
He talked to the Clippers. I said, what do you think would have happened? And he said, the Lakers would have got someone. They always get someone.
Yeah.
And you look at it, like you said, that's exactly what happens. Somehow the Lakers always make a deal. It's always a great deal for them, and they get the next guy before they've lost the current guy. And that's what it seems like happens now with Luka eventually being there before LeBron's gone.
Right. It could have been any team in the league. Nope. It was the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the part that, to me, again, to your point here, that just makes me think that, and tying in that Harrison never bothered to talk to another team. Like, Brian, how does that make any sense?
Well, it doesn't unless you say, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to do this for, I don't know, Jokic or Giannis, someone who you could maybe say is the same in category as Luka, and you can say, but Anthony Davis is a great player, but he's obviously much older than Luka, injury prone in his own right. It doesn't seem like the kind of trade you would make even as good as Anthony Davis is. So the fact that was the deal he said, I'm going to do, only deal I'm considering. Yeah, you say, okay, why? There's got to be something more he could have done, more picks back, more anything. Mm-hmm. And, again, you just, I can't explain it myself other than to say, same shock as everyone.
What do you make of this Laker team right now as is? And at some sports books, they're as low as 10-1 to win the title, if you can believe that. Are you hearing about another big trade or more pieces coming LA's way?
A lot of people think now, obviously, they'll try and get some kind of center, and they don't need a great one. Now if you look at, putting Luke and LeBron out there, two guys who get you 7-8 rebounds a game, maybe more, you don't need a dominant big man, a guy who was as good as Anthony Davis was. And, people, I think, don't realize how good this Laker team is already. They have a good record. And, if Luke is healthy and they figure it out, they have 2 months, the West is not unwinnable for anybody. They can certainly make a run. So I certainly give them a chance. Again, we have to see if Luke is healthy, but no reason to think they can't do it.
Well, then on the flip side, short term here, this year specifically, what do you make of the Mavericks and the construction of that roster now?
Same thing. I think it's interesting. I don't think their long-term looks as great, but short-term, I can see, sure, Anthony Davis has played great this year. Now, again, he's also injured right now. Let's see how long he's out for. But, Kyrie's been terrific. This should be a great, pick-and-roll kind of group that works here. They now have 3 good active centers in the middle. When you look at Lively and Gafford, when those guys are all healthy. So they're intriguing as well. And the one thing I've heard from multiple people around the league is, as good as Oklahoma City is, a lot of people look at them as a regular season kind of team, and you can get physical with them in the playoffs. And Dallas has kind of put together a roster now that maybe, like they did last year, can do it again.
Were you surprised what LeBron was able to do Saturday? Or was it like, of course he was going to do that? How many more trips does he have to the Mecca, and then he goes off, they get the win without Davis, and LeBron has the triple-double?
A little bit of both. I say I should expect him to be slowing down at his age, but I've seen it so many times, and knowing how much he was playing at the Garden, once it was clear he was having that kind of night, I kind of figured he was going to keep on going. He's still, when he needs to be, he's still a top 5 guy in this league, and he certainly was that night at, 33, whatever, 12 and 11 it was.
Yep.
Fantastic game.
What do you think of Fox to San Antonio?
I know, a great move for San Antonio. Obviously, now when you have him in the future with Wembanyama, I think, we may start to see moves like this where teams are, not sure, not even just for this summer if a guy's going to leave, but a couple summers out, is he going to be here long term and moving quickly? And, this was he had a great year 2 years ago. That was a nice, fun Sacramento team, and they're going to be totally different now. No one thought he was going to be available, but here it is, and great move by San Antonio to go get him.
Yeah. All right. So so you cover the Knicks. Mitch just bet the Knicks like 2 weeks ago to win the division. You see the Celtics issues. Everyone's saying they're bored, but they're taking 53s a game, and they're losing to some bad teams. What do you think? Is this the second best team in the East? They're unstoppable offensively. What's the excitement like there? And if you believe in this Knicks team to make a deep postseason run?
Paul, I think they need one more guy. I think they have a fantastic starting five, if they're healthy. But we saw last year when, all their guys got hurt at the wrong time. No one ever stays healthy. So I think the Knicks need a little bit more to their bench. And if so, yeah, I think they can beat Boston. I'm not sure I'd necessarily pick that, but their starting five is fantastic. They scored terrifically. They have great wing defenders. They have a lot of what you'd like. I'm just not sure they have enough of it. Now, Mitchell Robinson, their center, is close to coming back. Maybe that's the move right there. But I do think they are close, but not quite there yet.
So what will your pecking order look like at the top of the East, the top three teams? Put them in order.
I still would lean Boston slightly, and then I would say the Knicks, and then I think Cleveland deserves to be picked. The thing with Cleveland we haven't seen yet the last couple of years in the playoffs. You could again get physical with them. I think there's some skepticism, but I think they're legit. I like the Knicks a little bit better as a number 2 team, but I certainly give them a chance to be top 3 and expect they would be.
Yeah, Paulie mentioned this 2 seconds ago about the Celtics, but and I know their power rating is obviously to the moon. But that's, I think this year the variance with that team, Brian, is higher than any previous year just because of that team taking 50-plus threes per game. And when they're not hitting, then they get down in a hole by 26 points and they come roaring back for a win. But I think that team is going to be pushed a lot more than they were last year.
I think it's a great point, Mitch. I think their good nights are great and their bad nights are beatable nights. I thought last year they could win. Otherwise, they could. I don't feel like they're as locked in, maybe because they won last year. But, if they were off last year, you had, Derek White and Drew Holiday shutting teams down. I don't think that necessarily is working as much. And there are some explosive teams. I should mention Indiana, too. They're on a heck of a nice roll in January. And, they could certainly make a nice run in the playoffs. They score a lot. So, yeah, I think Boston still look there when they're, ideally when they're at their best, they're still better than everyone else in the East, but it's certainly not by as much as last year.
Yeah. You can follow Brian on X. He is at Brian C. Mahoney, has covered the NBA for the AP for many, many years. Thanks, Brian. We appreciate it.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. He was on the Progressive Guest line. Not a single person can believe it. How could you?
You go in there, you cover the game, the Lakers win, they're big dogs. LeBron has a triple-double, and then the news drops after the game, and LeBron's out with his family having dinner when he gets the news. And you got to be like, what? And you're sitting there with the Lakers who are in town, and they make the biggest trade in NBA history in terms of shock, surprise, whatever. You said earlier, biggest of the sports you can recall.
I mean,
it's
in terms of shock value, yeah. We
got a couple of good emails and tweets. A guy saying young people don't know anything about squares, and they're like, and you have to explain it to them. It's wild with the younger generation. No big game complete without a classic game of squares. Circa Square Bets. We all know the pain of pulling those terrible numbers. You get to choose your square and the numbers you want. Each square has its own odds. Download the Circa Sports Nevada app today. Place your Circa Squares bet. Turn your big game to a big win with Circa Sports.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. We'll head across the country here to the site of this year's Super Bowl, to the great city of New Orleans, where Jonathan Von Tobel is broadcasting his show, VSiN Primetime, from the entire week. He's on the Progressive Guest line. What's up, JBT?
Nothing much, guys. Just chilling. It's been a lot of fun out here. I've never been out here before, so my head's spinning, not because of all the sports news, but also because of the hurricanes, the hand grenades, and everything in between that I've experienced in the last 12
I was going to
hours.
say, because you got there yesterday, so that means that you have, one night of Bourbon Street probably under your belt already. Please tell me, some of your clothes that you have in the hotel room still have, that Bourbon Street stank on it from last night.
Yes, they do. I'm actually staring at a pile of them right now. And the night turned into the morning, we'll say. It was a very late night yesterday, so it was cool, man. I just like the vibe. The buildings are cool. The old stuff. Obviously, everybody's out here for a good time. You see Super Bowl fans coming in here. I really liked it, and the food was great. I was just talking to Paul about that too. The food has been absolutely fantastic. So yes, it has been quite the experience for having been here for just 12 hours in my life so far, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you have to, when you go to the local place, you have to try the local food. You're right. How was the alligator sausage?
Fantastic. That was actually one of the better things I honestly say we'll ever have. Like I'll rank it. I don't know if it's like top 10, whatever, but that was genuinely fantastic. That, and I had some blackened catfish. Oh, that was awesome.
Yes.
It was absolutely tremendous. And look at me. I'm not scared of food, right? I always want to try everything. So I was down and I got I think it was like a Cajun combo. So it was like red beans and rice, shrimp Creole, jambalaya, the blackened catfish, alligator sausage. Yeah, tried everything. It was great. And I'm going to continue to do it and go around town because I haven't tried gumbo yet. That's on my list as well. But it was so cool, guys. I love it out here. It's been so cool.
Oh, it sounds so good. I love that food so much. You're right. You got to do the gumbo, the jambalaya. People love po' boys. You have to try at least one or two po' boys. I'm not the biggest fan, so maybe I'm missing something there, but please put that on the list as well, okay?
Yes, it is on the list. I saw Adam Hill of the Las Vegas View Journal down a po' boy last night. So yes, it is on the list. It looked pretty good.
Okay. All right. Your biggest betting takeaway from this crazy trade from Saturday night would be what?
That I bet the Thunder to win the Western Conference. I was texting with Kelly about this when I did not believe it was happening. I thought Shams got hacked. I don't think anybody believed that it was real at all. But as the smoke settled and you kind of looked around at the Western Conference, look, the Mavericks were going to be the team, I thought, guys. I don't know what you thought. There was going to be the sneaky contender once they got fully healthy, right? I mean, with Luka coming back, the fact that they beat the Thunder team in the postseason last year, the fact that Lively had been banged up, like the reason they were sliding was due to absence of stars, not because of their level of play. And so you break that team up, and you still have a quality team there. But I think that version of the Mavericks was going to be able to push the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now that has dissipated and you have these two teams that I think are generally weaker and just kind of in the same area, that being the Lakers and the Mavericks. And then you look at the rest of the Western Conference, we're like, yeah, the Grizzlies are very good. And the Rockets, we'll see. I don't think they have enough on offense. The Denver Nuggets can't play a lick of defense all of a sudden. I think that this opens up for Oklahoma City. I thought at plus 115 or better, it was worth looking at the Thunder to win the Western Conference. That was the bet that I took actually coming out of everything.
I think I'm going to put them on some cross-sport parlays as well. I'm going to be looking to do that for sure. I like them even more now, like you said. My biggest takeaway was, sometimes the best bet is the one that you don't make. We've been urging people all day long. You cannot bet the Lakers at plus 950 or 10-1 to win the title. That's so outrageous to me.
Oh, so it got that high, huh? Wow. I mean, I would agree. Look, I think you can make the strong argument that Dallas is the better basketball team than the Los Angeles Lakers, right? I mean, when you look at the way that they are at least constructed, when you have a lead guard in Kyrie Irving, you have a good off-ball guard in Klay Thompson, you've got a good wing defender in PJ Washington, you have a power forward in Anthony Davis that can play with any of the centers that you have on the roster. In theory, that's a roster that really works. It's a lineup that really works and I think fits and gives them so many different options than what the Lakers have at this point right now. You have to find out who your perimeter defender is going to be. You have to find out who your center is going to be. You, on paper, lack for defense. If Dorian Finney-Smith is going to be your primary perimeter defender, he's a fine defender, but you're not really in a good spot. And Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, I think, are going to be pretty poor in terms of what they've been able to do defensively when they're forced to guard on the perimeter. So I think when you look at it, I'm shocked. I get the liability. I get it's Luka. I get it's the Lakers logo. But I am shocked that we have gotten this far without any of the logic being, if you look at the Mavericks, they're actually kind of good. And I think that they might be better than the Lakers.
What's your favorite part of the story? Or what you consider to be the most insane? Like, hey, don't tell anybody, Harrison to Pelinka, or I only go to one team, or Shams, who breaks the story, as you said, has to tweet above it, I've not been hacked. Take it away.
Yeah, I think you hit on all of it. I would say I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's the thing that I keep going back to, which is this team trying to tell us, the Mavericks, that, it's because of the conditioning, or it's because of it's because he might not have signed the extension. I think I was listening to you guys earlier. he would have put pen to paper on the extension.
Yes.
He's not going to get that money anywhere else.
Yes.
That is a ridiculous thing to say. And that lack of conditioning, which, by the way, you as a franchise have enabled in your time with Luka Doncic. You've never really put your foot down when it comes to that. That lack of conditioning got you to the NBA Finals last year. It got you to the Western Conference Finals about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden it's a problem. Now all of a sudden we're like, you know what? Nope, we got to do this. We've got to move. And during a time in which he's been out since Christmas, you haven't even seen him. So it doesn't make any sense at all. And to me, that's the part of the story I keep going back to, Paul. None of this makes sense outside of new ownership coming in and saying, we don't want to pay that guy. Let's go ahead and move off of him. Which, again, why buy the team? Why run the team? Why are you doing what you're doing if you're not going to pay for a superstar of that caliber? I think that's what I keep coming back to, just the reason that they traded him and the fact that they refused to say why.
The biggest mistake, in my opinion, JVT, is the fact that Nico Harrison never bothered to talk to another team. I'm blown. I will never not be blown away by that part of the whole deal.
Well, I completely agree, because here's the thing. Even if you want Anthony Davis, like if that's your end goal, at the very least, you still call other teams and then tell the Lakers, hey, I've got this package. Can you sweeten that deal around Anthony Davis? Right? Hey, I've got it's basic bargaining. So I don't know why you put yourself in the corner and call the team with the asset that you want, tell them that's the asset you want, and then that's it. Like, you screw yourself over. So even if you were going to make this trade, it's such bad business to go and do what you did. And let's zoom out, because I mentioned this when I was texting with Kelly and the guys in the group chat, which is, guys, 4 years ago, this team was in the Western Conference Finals with Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson on the roster. And now both of those guys are gone, and you have Anthony Davis, and I think is it a 2029 Lakers first-round pick, which, by the way, the Lakers are going to have Luka in 2029, so it's not even a good first-round pick because it's probably going to be late. So I don't understand what the business of this was at all.
That's another angle. Get the 2031 pick. You should have had both picks. Would you take the Spurs 4-1 to make the playoffs, or no?
I mean, I would think about it. I think when you look at it, everything overall, you always have to ask, right? Hey, who's going to fall out? And I think there's a chance that the Kings fall out. And can you leap the Warriors? I would say this, though, Paul. I think the one thing that works against you is the Warriors, by all accounts, are calling about every All-Star. I think is the report, right? Yep. Like they are trying to go and get somebody. And I was listening to you guys earlier. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that you still call about LeBron, right? I mean, Windhorst had a report that this is Luka's team now moving forward, that every move is about what you're going to do with Luka Doncic. And what better way to start that era than to say, hey, Golden State, what do you want for LeBron? We need to add some pieces here, maybe young pieces around him, like a Jonathan Kuminga or something. Like, can we do something there? And so if the Warriors add a superstar or an all-star or anything like that, then that leap becomes a little bit harder. And while DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine aren't really great, they at least have a pretty solid floor that you know is going to be somewhat productive. Are you going to be able to leap those two teams, get into the play-in, and then, of course, make the playoffs out of the bottom seed? I find it somewhat hard to believe for San Antonio.
Yeah. If Sacramento gets in, by the way, how dangerous do you think they would be?
I don't know, man. Like, we saw this in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, we know what this is. I think they'd probably be a pain in the butt for any team in any one series or maybe any one given night. We know how skilled those offensive players are, but at the end of the day, I just don't know what this team is doing other than spinning its wheels at this point right now. I mean, realistically, if you get in, again, we're talking about them being the 9 or the 10 seed. Do you really want to bet again? Do you want to bet on them in a series against Memphis? Do you want to bet on them in a series against Oklahoma City? Do you want to bet on them even in a series against Houston? Should Houston get past Memphis? And I just don't see that being somewhat plausible. So I guess maybe they could pull an upset off in like a 1 or 2 game setting, but I don't know if I would really trust that they're going to be able to get out of a first round series if they even make it that far, you know?
Yeah. We asked Jeff Sherman 2 hours ago if there's a number out there right now on any team in the Western Conference. He brought up Memphis, double-digit odds. He likes them.
No, I would agree with that. Like, they've been so impressive. Jenkins is awesome. 2 years ago, like that fan base wanted them fired, and I have no idea what was going on there. They had so many injuries. He's one of the best coaches in the NBA. They're awesome on defense every single year. They have good guard play, and they're a team that could potentially land Jimmy Butler. We had Sam Quinn on from CBS last week on primetime, and he said his sneaky team to watch out was Memphis, despite the fact that there is some things out there that maybe he's not going to resign with Memphis, doesn't want to play there, whatever it is, that Memphis would still maybe go put everything in the table, kind of like with Kawhi Leonard, right? Raptors kind of knew Kawhi might not resign, but let's go trade him. And they won an NBA Finals. It might be worth it to go try it with Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. Here's the bad news. You're on the air until 10 o'clock Central Time in New Orleans. Yep. The good news, much like the city of Las Vegas, this night has not even started at 10 o'clock. So you have plenty of time to go out and fill yourself with a ton of debauchery again tonight and this entire week.
I was definitely hanging on a balcony last night and whatnot, so I'll probably try to do that again tonight.
Good for you.
I like it.
Good for
There you go. All right, JBT. Thank you. Enjoy it.
Good to talk to you guys. Thanks.
He was on the Progressive Guest Line. In Pocket Plays coming up next. Our best bets for tonight on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.